A week later, we gathered again. Same cafe, same table, though the air had shifted. The trees outside were almost bare now, and the scent of pumpkin bread filled the cafe. I'd brought my notebook again, of course. Small Seed Books of Santa Cruz continues to grow one conversation at a time. Today, the energy was softer. Glinda and I had both finished Women Who Run with the Wolves. What a book. It felt like drinking water from a deep, ancient well. When I told the crew how we'd run into each other at Bookshop Santa Cruz, both reaching for the same copy, everyone smiled. "Of course you did," said Scout. "That's Santa Cruz synchronicity." As the conversation unfolded, we began reflecting on what stayed with us most from the book. For Glinda, it was the part about tears, how they can heal, how the shedding of them is an offering of spirit and release. "It's funny," she said. "We spend so much time trying not to cry, but the book reminded me that tears are sacred. They cleanse the soul like rain." I nodded, thinking of the sweat lodge we just shared the weekend before, the prayers, the singing, the steam carrying our tears into the air. Scout described it beautifully. Open quote, "The song still echoes in my mind," he said. "Earth my body, water my blood, air my breath, and fire my spirit." Close quote. We all sat quiet after that, just listening to the hum of conversation around us, the rattle of spoons and cups, the world moving through its own rhythm. Sid mentioned how the lodge felt like being inside the earth herself, reborn through heat and breath. Portillo Man reflected on how every tradition seems to carry its own way of remembering connection, whether through laughter like the Hayoka, through ritual like the lodge, or through story like the book. As I sat there, taking notes and sipping my coffee, I realized how every conversation we've shared at this cafe weaves together. Each one circles back to the same truth. We're all trying to remember who we really are, souls in motion, learning through laughter, tears, and song. When we finally stood to leave, Glinda smiled and said, "I think we're all just different ways the Great Spirit learns to speak." Scout grinned, nodding toward me and Glinda as we gathered our coats. Open quote, "Next time," he said, "I want to hear what you gals have learned from that book. I've only heard good things." Close quote. We laughed, waved, and stepped back out into the crisp Santa Cruz air, the gulls overhead, the redwood-scented breeze carrying away the last echoes of our talk. Sometimes I think the true spirit of Santa Cruz is found right there, in those moments between sips of coffee where wisdom hides in ordinary conversation and the divine feels close enough to touch. The Spirit of the Coffee Table, a reflection by Luna. After everyone left, I stayed behind for a while, listening to the cafe quiet down. The last rays of sun slid through the window, turning the air to gold dust. The sound of the espresso machine faded, and somewhere down Pacific Avenue, a street musician was playing something slow and haunting, like a memory drifting through time. I found myself thinking about all our talks here, each one a little ceremony disguised as conversation. We've spoken of butterflies and rebirth, laughter as medicine, women who run with wolves, the sacred tears that heal, and the songs we carry out of the sweat lodge. Every story feels like a thread, weaving us together into something both ancient and alive. It's as if the cafe itself has become our temple, the mugs, our offering bowls, the laughter, our incense. This whole Small Seed Books journey began as simple documentation, but it's become a map of the heart, a record of how friends can rediscover the sacred in the everyday. Each time I read back through the pages, I see us transforming, not through big revelations, but through quiet moments of truth shared over warm cups and ocean air. Maybe that's what the Great Spirit wanted all along, for us to remember that the divine doesn't only live in mountaintops or temples, but right here, between sips of coffee and bursts of laughter. Before I left, I wrote one final note at the bottom of my page, underlined it twice, and smiled. Open quote, "The Spirit speaks quietly through friendship, through story, through the simple act of showing up, again and again, to share the light." Close quote. Then I closed my notebook, whispered a soft mahalo to the wind, and stepped out into the Santa Cruz evening. Somewhere beyond the streetlights, the sea was breathing, steady and eternal. And I thought, this is it. This is what it means to be awake.
Please click like and then subscribe. Also share this video with your friends. Thank you.